Okay, hi, my name is Don Richie. I'm retired from the United States Navy. In a period of 24 years, I was on 4 ships, 4 submarines, and I had originally, when I went through boot camp in San Diego, California in 1959, my thoughts from day one was I want to be in the submarine service. I had pursued this, but every time I would apply for it, it would get approved, and I kept continuing on, as to say, persevered. And after a period of time, I had acquired quite a few schools and some advanced schools in electronics and crypto repair and various things of that nature. And the 4th ship that I was on was the Mount McKinley. We went to Westpac, which, by the way, was my 5th Western Pacific run on a surface craft. And when I got back, we just came back from Vietnam, and when I got back, the EPTOPAC, which was the Enlisted Distribution Center in San Diego, they sent out a message saying that if anyone first class and above, that was A6 and above, wanted to get transferred, to come to EPTOPAC and they would see what they could do for you. So I went to EPTOPAC, I presented my record to them, and I said, I want to go to submarines. He said, okay, let me look at your record. I looked at it, and he's seen all the chits in there that were approved and various things. And he says, go see that man sitting right over there. So I went over there, and the guy looked at my record, and he says, okay, Sparky, which is the nickname picked up by radiomen in the Navy. He says, what do you want to do? What kind of submarine you want to go to? I said, I want to go to a fleet ballistic submarine, an FBM. He says, okay, just a minute. He looked at his roster there. He says, okay, you're going to the USS John Adams Gold Crew. And he says, get home and pack because you're leaving in a week. So I went home, told the wife. Well, due to the fact that I had to leave so quickly, she had to take care of all the moving and stuff of that nature that if I had been there, I could have helped her with. And by the way, I owe a considerable amount of my career to my wife Mickey, because it takes a special kind of a woman to survive all these long days of being gone. So anyway, she took care of everything, and I went to Honolulu and went and checked over to Ford Island, went aboard with the crew of the John Adams Gold Crew. I was there about 3 days, just long enough to get logged in and get my record corrected and everything. And we flew to Guam and went aboard the John Adams. And it was an unusual situation because I never even went to submarine school. So I was a direct input. My commanding officer on the John Adams told me later on that he was a little hesitant about this because he wasn't sure how this was going to work out. Well, we went on patrol, and by the end of the patrol, I had done all the things for qualification, by the way, which they give you at least a year to take care of these. I had everything done with the exception of my board in one run. We came back to Honolulu for 3 months, went back out to Guam. I had my board, got my dolphins. And I thoroughly enjoyed all my naval career, especially the submarine service. To date back a little bit, when I was my first 4 years in the Navy, I didn't hate the Navy, but I'm not sure whether I knew really what was all going on the outside. So I got out after 4 years and went to work for Astronautics, which is, at that time they were working on the Atlas missiles. And I got a job working in the electronics department. And my boss in the electronics department told me, he says, hey, I'm going to send you up here for this interview for a job paying more money. Well, I went up there, and I just didn't have enough background to some of the questions they were asking. So I was presented with a thing. Either he told me I could get some more electronics background, or go to some kind of a trade school or something. Well, I couldn't afford that time. This is back in 1963, and I didn't have that kind of money. I looked around for electronics school, a couple $1,000. Too much. So I had a friend of mine who lived up the street. He was in the Coast Guard, and he was a a first-class bosun mate, and he was a Coast Guard recruiter. He was a Coast Guard recruiter there in San Diego, and I told him, I said, yeah, I'm thinking about going back in the service. He said, well, you ought to go back in the Coast Guard. Well, I said, okay. So I more or less thought about this, and I said, well, what the heck, I'll give the Coast Guard a try. So he says, well, he says, come down and fill out the paperwork, and he says, and then it takes a couple of 3 weeks, you know. So I go down there, and I take his stuff on his test and all these other things, and he said, hey, you done quite well on the test. He's got a 98 on it. And I said, okay. He says, okay, in about 2 weeks, we'll have the background check done, and he said, we'll fix you right up. I go back in 2 weeks. He says, you wasn't kidding, was you? I said, yeah, I wasn't kidding. He says, well, I didn't even send the paperwork in. He said, I thought you were just messing with me. I said, sorry, pal. Walked right out the door, walked down 3 doors, went right back in the Navy. And rest history. 24 years later, I retired off the USS San Francisco, Senior Chief Radioman, and I seen a lot of things, done a lot of things, enjoyed it thoroughly. I know I've met a lot of good friends that I still keep in contact with, some of them by virtue of phone calls and internet. And I got a very good education from the Navy. The Navy, I applied for ADCOP, which is an associate degree completion program, and I was picked up on that, and I went to school, graduated, and all the technical schools that I went to in the Navy. I thoroughly enjoyed my naval career, and it was very good for me. I would definitely recommend to all young persons getting out of high school that if they really didn't know what they wanted to do right now, to seriously think about at least doing a hitch in the military, because it gives you a lot of insight on different things, helps you grow up. Most of them have excellent schools and a good career. And that's about it, I guess. Here I am at Kissimmee, 23 years later. That'll do her.